Hello everyone, Sidewin here. Today I am going to be explaining how you go about picking your Ancestry in Pathfinder Second Edition. So to start, there are a couple of terms I need to define. These are rarities. There are 3 rarities in Pathfinder: common, uncommon, and rare. These rarities for the Ancestries are based off essentially how common a certain Ancestry is in the Inner Sea region of Goloron. Your GM will modify these categories if they are running a homebrew world in many cases. Common ancestries, you don't have to ask. Uncommon, GMs generally ask that you ask them, or more like tell them and give an explanation. Rare is ask your GM generally, because many different worlds and many different locations will not necessarily react well to the ancestry, and it can often be an attention stealer or distractor from the main story of the game. So then I'm going to start talking a bit about how you can go about picking your ancestry. So the first way you can go about that is just what looks cool. And you can just do that by reading the sentence-long description, and then if one looks interesting, you can look at more information on them. However, this video is targeted to beginners, so I'm going to talk a little bit about each of the common ancestries here. So first off, dwarves. Right there, the summary is that they are short, stocky, stubborn, fierce, and devoted. The best way to phrase a dwarf is basically they are very honor-driven and oftentimes very loyal to their clans. On the flip side, an elf is literally an alien in Goloron. Note that GMs will probably modify this world by world, all of them, but the elves are especially something to note. Essentially, elves are aliens, and that's basically how to summarize it. Not like elves like me. Let's be quite clear here. Gnomes in Pathfinder are very unique. They are driven to find new experiences and have fun. Goblins are, in Pathfinder, essentially reckless inventors, and oftentimes just reckless. Halflings are basically small humans, and they are very brave, very excitable, and easygoing. They're generally just, they're halflings, very much like the typical halfling. Then I'm going to mention the 2 that are a little more unique to Pathfinder. First off, orcs, which are a very proud, very strong people that look for glory in combat. Oftentimes, they die young. Goblins do, but orcs are very different in Pathfinder than they are in many fantasy things because they're not just an enemy species, they are actually a people. Then the most unique one to Pathfinder is the Leshy. Basically, they're mini plant people. They're plant people. There isn't a better way to explain it. If you're interested in playing a Leshy, just read the whole thing. And then finally, the other common ancestry is human, which, well, you guys are. So let's just say that they are just very varied. And then from there, you can just read through the descriptions and see which one fits. However, I am going to explain a couple more things about Ancestry. First off, each one gives those set number of mechanics, number of hit points, size, and speed. Size isn't really a big modifier until you get outside small and medium size. Speed is generally 25 feet, but certain ancestries have a different number. For example, dwarves having 20. Then each ancestry gives a certain number of attribute boosts. Each ancestry can always choose to have 2 free attribute boosts, or the one set by their ancestry, such as the Leshy having +2 to Constitution, +2 to Wisdom, and -2 to Intelligence, and then 1 free. All of the ancestries have a different number set there. Then, each ancestry also has a number of feats. At first level, you get 1 feat. And this is essentially setting up what is your ancestral ability. If you're coming from, say, Dungeons and Dragons, these are just the replacements of the ancestral abilities given in those games. So, for example, as a human, you might be from, say, a place that everyone does magic. In that case, you might choose Adapted Cantrip. You get a cantrip at first level. And note that human is probably the most diverse of the ancestries, because it's reflecting many different flavors. Now, going over to Leshy as an example of something that's a little more set. Like right here, this is based off the fact that Leshies sort of have reincarnation, which humans generally don't. So it essentially reflects the alienness of the other ancestries. To finish up, I'll mention a few more things about certain ancestries that you should be aware of as a player. First off, some ancestries are environmentally restricted. For instance, Leshy and Goron. These are plants. They act like plants, they need photosynthesis, generally. Then some ancestries require access to water, such as Athamaru, Azarketi, and Merfolk. If you are picking an ancestry with any of those, you want to be very aware of that limitation and consider, does this actually fit the campaign? For example, a campaign set in a cave. There might be some heritages of, for example, Leshy here, Fungus Leshy, that could work for an underground campaign. But if you're trying to play a fruit Leshy in the underground and there's no sun, that will not work. Or if you're trying to play an Azarketi in a desert campaign, that will end up very poorly, with you dying. Unless you've forgotten access to water, or choose the heritage that ignores that. Heritages basically can let you escape some of these limitations. Then lastly, I'm going to mention the size thing. So some ancestries are not small or medium. Like right here, centaurs are large. This means they are very big and cannot always fit in smaller spaces. So if you're doing a lot of dungeon crawling in small tunnels and caves, you're not going to be able to do that as a centaur. It's just not going to happen. On the flip side, being smaller than usual can also be something to note. Here, I'm going to use the sprite as an example. Sprites are usually tiny, meaning that they are like under a foot tall, and that gives them certain disadvantages. For example, they cannot hit someone from a square away. They have to be in the same square as the enemy. And most GMs, if you've got something special like that, they will expect you to know how that trait works. Because no GM can memorize all the traits, and most of us really don't want to. So that is where I'm wrapping up today. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and if you have any question or comment, please put it in the comments below. Thank you for watching.